Hey everybody around the world. Thanks for coming back. I appreciate your company. My name is Reagan, formerly the Doom Wizard. Currently, I'm in a attic space in a home that was built in 1918. I have slight congestion, perhaps being exposed to many new pathogens and dust particles up here. But for all of Doom's sake and meat sauce around the world, I appreciate your company and being a part of this journey through understanding our collapse by means of abrupt climate change and biodiversity loss, to name a few, among other things I'll get into today's video. So I wanted to begin the new year 2024 with this video in this space to go over some news I found worthy because I am a journalist, which is what I was studying in school. Somewhere along the way, I took geology, and then I was also handed the IPCC report, which changed the trajectory of my life completely. I've been following the climate science and data for the past seven or 8 years now, going on 8 strong. I took some time to, distance myself, but then came right back around to it as it was increasingly evident that we were not making any strides whatsoever, and here we are. Now, I'm not a defeatist and give up all hope, as in living my own life. That's what I mean. Clearly I'm still existing and find some joy in sparse amounts in life. Your company means a lot. And last year I turned in a little over $3,400 from you guys, which is decent for telling the truth, and also considering I went through a massive life change. That's neither here nor there. No more energy can be invested into the past. YouTube only paid me maybe $200 from ads. So clearly telling the truth and being an honest and upstanding citizen trying to exercise critical thinking is not appreciated by the corporations. Surprise. All right, so here I am in the attic, quite spacious with my own half bathroom though. As an artist and a creative person, you can expect to be in a cardboard box once in a while, though this is temporary. In just a few short months, just a quarter of this year, I will be in a lovely cabin in a state park, and then hopefully by all means starting a new life for good and planting my roots down into a intentional community. So, not to sound narcissistic that this is about me, clearly I meet men and women of all shapes, sizes, and variations every day. That makes me wonder what in the hell I am or what I'm doing and what these other people are thinking. But as I'm aware, in many countries of the world, most of the population is just going along with the motion and drinking vodka and not challenging authority. It is too much to ask of people. And there's been studies about this to change the status quo, to get up off our asses. A civil war, really? After we're done working, 20-hour shifts, as if we can get up and fight each other. I mean, basically, it's a stalemate civil war situation. My political views in 2024 are such that the entire system is captured by corporate interest. Left and right is merely culture war for the undermining fact that it has all been captured by corporate interests. I am not a liberal. I am not a neo-liberal. I'm not this or that, and no labels. I just exclude myself because clearly it isn't working when you have this many people. Not the logistical challenge, to make adequate decisions isn't working out, indicated by our national debt reaching $34 trillion, adding $1 trillion since November. All right, so the founding fathers, if you really went back, John Adams, and George Washington, all of them would be crapping their pants seeing the place that we're in now. Waking up out of a cryo chamber and seeing this disjointed political system we have now, which is essentially what they feared most, a two-party system, left versus right, stalemate. And you could argue, if you all know Harari, like, this is all we have, and that's how we ensure checks and balances. Well, clearly it isn't working, okay? We're in gridlock. It's like a marriage where one party refuses to act and the other doesn't either, and they can't make a compromise, and they just butt heads constantly at the sacrifice of the population, of the will of the people. Obviously, have you seen our infrastructure, our educational costs? Have you been outside in a city, talk to people, and feel the general dismay and distrust and malaise prevalent nearly everywhere you look? That is the result of greed, mismanagement, a broken political system, and money. Once money was infiltrated into politics, it took off. And all of these factors contributed to this. And am I saying a communist party is better, Marxist? No, none of them. If the egg is broken, it's broken. Okay? We can't make 8 billion people. So, yes, new tribal communities, once this collapse takes off, as Roger Hallam is building, that's his kind of MO now, is to lean away from revolting against fossil fuel lobby, regime, and start this, new hunter-gatherer tribe post-world cyberpunk, something electric, self-sustainable, regenerative farming, all of that. I mean, we're heading, this isn't working. We're not going to have one-day shipping. We're not going to have massive profits, buybacks, etc. So it's a mess. And this is the end of the line. I don't see a stable... Yeah, that's my political views. I don't see stability. I mean, look, I don't do drugs. I hardly drink. I'm just trying to work my butt off, make a little over $500 a week. And this is the best I can afford and find in most cities. Meanwhile, just houses just line the streets. No children playing about. No neighbors out talking to each other. It's truly dystopian. I had a guy... come outside his house, take his order out of a 2-story house, and so disconnected. How's it going? Oh, I don't know, not living in a house like this. Like, you clueless moron, really? Boomers took everything. And young people are infuriated and disconnected. Okay, I get off my soapbox. I'm sure a lot of you agree with me, which is why you stay subscribed. It's not a conventional idea. It's so much easier to side with left or right and, give you some sort of identity, I suppose. So, the temperature outlook. Let's talk about some more down-to-earth, tangible news. For NOAA predicting January, February, March, a little above normal. Thank goodness. I was really not looking forward to a snowy winter here like we had last winter. And we've had barely any snow in December, as many of you have felt in the northern states. The southern states, just rather the same. These are just a bunch of whole headlines that I pulled up. Did you know your brain uses experience to determine whether it's worth it? Surprise, you learn by doing, and you figure out if things are worth doing or not. Well, there's recent more data to suggest that. Also, NASA's pushing ahead with Earth System Observatory despite uncertain budgets. They're pushing ahead with all these long name developmental observatories, and it's going to cost $3.5 billion. The 4 missions, which is a lot of money, but we need to give the money back to the big 5 oil companies instead for rewarding shareholders with record payouts. The world's 5 largest oil companies are expected to reward their investors with record payouts of more than $100 billion for 2023. The big 5 super majors, BP, Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil, Total Energies, showered with dividend payments worth $104 billion in 2022 calendar year. So just about the same as the previous year. And our streets remain cracked and broken. Our culture in, complete disconnected. Just feed them Taylor Swift. Everybody knows it's broken, okay? It's dystopian. It's so hard not to talk about. There's an interesting article quickly through Live Science about 10 things we learned about our human ancestors in 2023. And among many things in there, the two earliest humans came from, as you suspect, Africa. Yep, it came from Africa. And I think Beckwith did a video on this recently, but beaver ponds may actually exacerbate warming in the Arctic, scientists say. So maybe you guys knew this, and I think you told me this. Through Alaska has never looked like this before. Tundra thin as a thread, and they show string of black patches, one large pond after another, dozens of meters apart. It's a transformation happening across the Arctic, so beavers are building their little dams and thus changing the geography, and in fact melting the tundra and releasing methane faster. So they are the culprits. Time to go on a beaver hunting campaign. Not really. Not suggesting that. And as I said, national debt hits a record 34 trillion. And this past year was the hottest year on record. This is going to tally up that. Also, an article on USA Today putting all the charts, more charts and graphs and datas, in case we need to see more. Okay. And notably at the end of this Axios article is a vocal minority think that 2023's temperature bounce isn't a fluke at all, but rather a quickening of the planet's thermostat, that will become increasingly obvious in the next few years. Think abrupt and irreversible climate change. And for all other news, I recommend Climate and Economy. Definitely check out January 2nd's roundup of news, climate news, all in one place. Everything I just said, and then some. December 24th was the third hottest day in the last 174 years. Okay, welcome to a 1.5C world. And in the past 3 years, charts and data is that energy imbalance has reached 1.4 watts per meter squared in the past 3 years. Okay? That's higher than any time in the past hundreds of thousands of years. And another mind-boggling fact, unrelated, was with our recent downpour of snow we had we had one blizzard, if you can call that, 2.5 inches or so around northern Ohio. There were snowplows and trucks out left and right. They traveled some 70,000 miles totaled up between all the snowplow trucks moving. And I could be off on that number slightly, but it's somewhere around that. And considering the Earth is around 2,400 or something miles or at the equator, give or take, that's, 4.5 times, 5 times around the Earth of gasoline sucking, BP shell profiteering, war in Ukraine, Gaza conflict, global idiocy, snow plowing to keep the giant regime going, okay? What would we do without the snowplow trucks? How do we even begin? Look, it can be done, but it would take a monumental effort everywhere all at once. And then the aerosols would fall, and then we would be at a 2-degree world quite quickly and more. And then our food supply would be gone, and then there would be a mass migrant crisis, and North Korea will decide to launch nukes. It's built in. Okay? This is not fear-mongering. This is reality. I appreciate you folks. Hang on for 2024, and welcome back to this channel. I'm 35 in 11 days, and I feel healthy. I feel strong. I feel like the mariachi in Desperado. If only I could find my Salma Hayek. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, folks. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.